Hey family, what's up? Oneness, wholeness, and balanced vibrations to you this very day. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Uh, Having a good one. It's been windy. I don't like the wind. Anyway, wanted to hop on here because it's basically my 3-year anniversary of dry fasting 23 hours a day and juicing for an hour. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting coming up on 3 years of doing it. I've done a little bit of fluctuating and adjustment, to have like Christmas, open up my window here or there. Sometimes I have to do a 25 or 6 hour day when I have to work longer, and then the next day shorter, but pretty much been, I'd say, very consistent, like 90% plus consistent with that for 3 years. So that's cool, and dry fasting has been amazing. Breatharianism, the whole concept, it's been amazing. But coming up on my 3rd birthday, I'm kind of feeling like sort of renouncing the idea. I really resonate with my teacher Ellie Tom's thought of the Solarian, but even more so for my own path, I resonate with the Taoist concept of the life cultivation path, where there's all the diet wars going on and everybody's saying what's good for who, and really we have to be guided by our own values, our own bodies, and the best diet is one, or as the Rastas say, the best livity is one that you can maintain consistently, and is mostly, at least, made out of living foods. If you bring, I think it was Jesus in the Bible said, for health, bring in foods that are alive. And if you eat foods that are dead, you will, have to deal with sickness. But there's so many people, who've had a lot of healing through carnivore, through keto, through modalities that aren't aligned with my values, but at the same time, they're beings too. They need healing, and they're just trying to find their best way. So we need to find something that pins it more accurately about what we should be. We're all on the same team here. We got to remember, those of us who are chasing natural health and using diet and herbs and kind of going against the grain of the shit stem, that we shouldn't be infighting. There's even infighting amongst the raw vegans, based on and this has been something that's been up for me too, of like, really, of course, the situation is we're all energy beings in a sea of energy. So this energy cultivation path, if you feel energetic, you feel good, you feel happy, you feel healthy. Those all go together. So in Chinese traditional medicine, people use meat as a medicinal substance, not as a food. But in the cases of being malnourished, or maybe you have to rebuild some part of your body, like the cartilage or something like that, then you would need some, maybe some of those kinds of building blocks. And I'm just saying this because I've just recently had a vegan friend, long-time vegan, had to put aside his beliefs to explore with bone broth so that he wouldn't, have to suffer, because he's been dealing with gastrointestinal distress. So he's just being open. So I just want to, sort of give permission out there. I've been exploring a little bit with the sugar diet, which is really interesting and taking off more and more. It's actually something I've been doing this whole time, 3 years of dry fasting, like mostly fruit juices, and then I do work in nutrient dense like superfoods and tonic herbs, and then occasional nut milks, and of course a little bit of lettuce and some seaweed, and I think it's good to have the fiber, and what I'm hearing more and more is actually the fruit fiber is more important for your microbiome because there's the glucobiome, which I wasn't even aware of. So yeah, here I am making my juice for tomorrow, and yeah, just going through transition and changes. I think everybody is at this time, and the ones that are up for me are changes in my business, changes in my presence online, changes in my relationship sphere. Being an empty nester, having to figure out things. As with my wife, as just being our own people. And my relationship with breatharianism too, because I love this path, but I have to think of it differently and kind of brand it differently, because I find that it invites people with eating disorders, and something I want to talk about, because it came up through going through the Juice Guru Institute, but it came up for me naturally when I was in Costa Rica. Too much time connected here on social media, identifying as a breatharian, etc. And then going to Costa Rica, feeling the energy, feeling like I could go further, but feeling also hampered by not being able to feel as connected with my family. Like my wife, and I were there, and she'd be sitting in the restaurant, and I'd just be sitting watching her, and it just kind of feels socially odd. So trying to be more open. You have an eating disorder if you're too restrictive, if things are too tight and you can't be open. So whether you're a vegan, whether you're carnivore, whether you're breatharian, whatever, can you be flexible? Because the flexible will never be bent out of shape. If you're rigid, you'll be broken. So, in this time where we're going through so many trials and transformations with everybody in their personal lives and in their, economics and everything shifting, changing, politically, so many ways, spiritually, we're all evolving as we're shifting, to this higher timeline, the quickening and ascension. And we need to find more causes for unity and naturalness, and for being allowing and accepting of other people's ways, and give each other plenty of room to make mistakes, because that's how we're gonna need plenty of room as we make our own mistakes. And so that would be the way. I see I have a request to join from Sharak. Let me see, check this out. Having issues here. What's up, family? Welcome. Shucks, I'm having trouble with it. How do I check this out? It's not like it was last time I was on live here. Patience, family. We'll just go live for a little bit together. I'm gonna wrap up here in a second, because I think I figured it out here, but I gotta make my stuff for tomorrow. That's the other thing. I'm just shucking and moving. I gotta keep moving. See who we got here.
What's up, fam?
Not much. What's happening?
Good.
Yeah. Excellent. Where are you hearing from?
I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, okay. Right on. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Good. But how are you doing today, and how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, thank you.
But I have a small question for you.
Okay.
Can I start my question?
Yeah.
I am already saw your YouTube channel.
You are what?
I am already saw your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
But its video quality, everything is good. But your YouTube channel not complete monetization yet.
Oh yeah. I think you've reached out to me. Let's talk about this not on a live. Let's talk about it one-on-one. Okay?
Okay, no problem. But where are you from, sir? Maybe United States or United Kingdom.
I'm in the States.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I have many.
Let's hook up. Let's hook up one-on-one on DM. I. I.
Oh,
Um. Yeah.
sorry.
No,
I am
you're
apology
good.
for
You're good.
discussing on.
Yeah, you're good. All right. Have a great day, friend.
Thank you, boss.
Peace. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Can you just exit there? Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate the comment, and we've connected before. I do want to kind of like open up my. This is another crossroads I'm at in my life. Is I want to open up my ability to help y'all with health coaching and with permaculture and herbalism. The main way we're doing it is online, and I'm really finding that I have to draw a massive boundary in myself with respect to tech. It's just not good for my well-being. It's fine to jump on here sometimes and connect up, and that was one of the other messages that I wanted to share today. Is I think social media is played out, family. I don't know. I do like connecting with people, but I don't know about y'all, but when I jump on Instagram here and I'm doom scrolling through the feed or looking, you see everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's got the secrets to the universe. It's a dime a dozen. Everybody's selling their thing. It's cool. I'm really glad people are making their livelihood and doing what they love. But I just have concern for others. It's more than that. It's just what I notice in my own self is I feel much more rooted and grounded and real in myself when I'm not here on social media. Whether I'm consuming and absorbing it or creating content. And a lot of people who become content creators, it's this whole grind. It's this whole, pressure, and, they're trying to exit the matrix, but are you feeling any relief in that sense? So I'm really seeking these answers for myself, hoping as I go through all these transformations that I have things to share with y'all. And one of these is this sugar diet thing. And it's, there's a lot of people in terms of my health coaching issues. There's a lot of people out there dealing with, pre-diabetic or diabetic conditions. A lot of people, sick and obese. And the sugar diet is a way, the theory of it is connected very similarly to Doug Graham's 80-10-10, where he studied across the world the places, first he studied this, took a look at the studies from the very different organizations, the athletic organizations, the research organizations in science, and etc., and looked at the optimal numbers of macros, carbs, fats, protein. And he also looked at the blue zone areas around the world and what the general ranges for these very healthy people. And he found that the ranges for fat were between like 3 and like 15%, and protein was like 5 to like 18%. So he kind of put it in the middle at 10 for fat and protein, and by default everything else has to be carbs. The body runs on sugar completely. Your brain runs on sugar. Everything, all the fats and protein that you take in, your body converts into sugar. And he was just researching this as an athlete and found his performance was peaked by it, and that he then got into a career helping other athletes, helping people reverse a wide range of diseases, including diabetes. But with fruit, with sugar, primarily, that would be the simple, because simple carbs are more absorbable and healthier generally than complex carbs. So, he came across this, and in recent years, some of his sort of acolytes like Darian Ryder and Freely the Banana Girl started chasing this, and they even started adding table sugar. And everybody said, I've always heard table sugar is terrible because it rancifies, it's very acidic, and it's, like cocaine on the brain, and it's going to peak your blood sugar like crazy and make you diabetic. And I looked into it, and none of that's actually true. Hey, Jerome, one love, brother. Good to see you there, man. You're welcome to join if you like. I'm going to kind of keep it short here. I'm making juice, but been missing you, bro. Been loving your book. But to carry on with this point real quick, so there's this whole sugar or simple carb kind of, it's sort of relative to the breatharian thing, and that, it's this energy. We're energy beings, right? And so, that's also why I'm kind of like wanting to revisit the terminology of breatharianism into something else, more like energy cultivation, energy nutrition, Hey, thanks, brother. Great to see you too. So, anyway, sugar is like straight energy. And if you take the proteins and fats down, your cells, because some of the diseases associated with too much fat particularly is like this lipid toxicity at the cellular level, where your cells just get so plugged up with fats that they can't absorb, they can't breathe. And so it naturally, if you take the fats down and you take sugars in, then your cells don't have that coating of fat and protein. The waste matter is basically urea or pee. Your cells eat it and then they make acidic pee. So if you're making that a minimum and you're putting in carbs instead, your cells become more insulin sensitive because they're able to respond. Your body is this is part of the breatharian, thing, Hilton Hotima's whole thing of the body's vital adaptation. Your body, that's why people are healing on carnivore, people are healing on ketogenic, and people are healing on the sugar diet, is because your body is so wise that it can run on all forms of prana, every form of life energy force, whether it's, the radiant prana and the inherent prana in your body, or whether it's, food. and that's another reason why I choose to, sort of as a breatharian, serve in the mode of nutrition, because part of my love and path to this has been through food, and that we should think of it in terms of health and growing our health and energy to as high a state as we can handle. That's the other thing why I say balanced vibrations, is because, too high a vibration can be, which can be the thing with fasting and breath work and everything, and you get so it's another way to get high. And we'll all say it. You're really accessing your endocannabinoid system, you're accessing, dopamine, all kinds of stuff inside of your body when you go into these states. So, but can you sustain it without burning out, So this is part of the thing as we're moving back towards prana, as we're ascending in the quickening. We're going to need to, take a loving, healing, sort of nourishing way. Jerome, love you, brother. He says, the body's so incredible, so amazing. Thank you for serving the way you do. My pleasure, brother. And this is, I topped on here kind of talking a little bit about my need for my own health to step away from social media, but it does fill my heart when I'm able to serve and help. And sometimes I get these comments like, you really help me, make this transition or something. And then I'm like, well, yeah, it's all worth it. All the frustration. But I have to like careful of my mind, this is like, to me, this is a massive thing about quote unquote breatharianism, is like in the energy management, energy cultivation, is the regulation of our nervous system as a primary. If we can be in a place of stability and loving kindness, those are higher goals than like releasing food. Releasing food is, if it serves those ends, to health, overall balance for self and your relationship with other, then whatever that is, we should bring that in. So I'm just having to reform this ideation in myself. And wanting to frame it for the community, so we move away from the thoughts of food is bad. We need to understand, reappropriate our relationship with food. Fasting is a great way to do that, but so is nutrition. And if we can build the energy in the long run, we'll naturally move toward breatharianism. You don't even have to think about the goal, and to fall in love with the process. I've been, dry fasting. This is my third year of dry fasting, 23 hours a day. So it's doable, and I would say my caloric range is between 1,000 and 2,000, or maybe 2,200 daily, with a very, very active lifestyle. Gardening, building, hiking, like constantly moving. So this sugar thing can really, if your cells are empty from the lipids and the fats, then it can take up the sugar and they become more insulin sensitive. They learn to adapt and make better use of the sugar. And people are reporting all manner of benefits from it. So just something to explore, something I wanted to put out, and something that aligns with sort of the fruitarian road to breatharianism. And there's a lot of people that are getting a lot of healing of doing fruit till 4, and then either doing, kind of low protein, cooked or whatever, vegan, or even lean protein, meat eating, and turning around psoriasis and diabetes. And there's one guy who even followed the snake diet guy. He was just proving his point, and he did a 3-day soda fast. And his neighbor did it, who was pre-diabetic and elderly, and he did it 4 days, and his A1C was lower at the end of 4 days of drinking soda. My mind boggles. So this is where we have to question ourselves on all things, and seek for the highest, most skillful way forward for ourselves and all those concerned, in terms of the reduction of suffering and the support of happiness. So anyway, I got mangoey hands. I gotta go make my juice for work this week, but it's been really great to connect with you all here for a little bit. Been missing you, honestly, just missing you, but I also really need to take this time. I'm just working, family. I'm building my Airbnb. I'm also doing the inner work. I have to turn my focus away a little bit from making money and, getting online and making my brand here. One more note here. Let's see. Wayne Believer, Higher Creator, says, I use chia seed zeolite powder. Don't want ivermectin. Yeah. That's a great way for, chelating out all manner of heavy metals, and also for some of the jab sort of healing protocol, working with zeolite. But I would suggest with the zeolite that you also add in some kind of fulvic minerals, either shilajit, or if you want, you can hit me up. I work with a company called Purium, and we have a fulvic zeolite. And what that does is the fulvic minerals will drive out, a lot of those heavy metals and stuff, and then the zeolite will magnetically bind them and help you chelate them out of your body. So good point there. Anyway, much love, family. Gotta fly. Wishing you the blessed. Thank you for your time. Hope you got something from this. One love. Be well.